Hey everyone! I'm just gonna hop on here and show you guys how I do, I'll assemble the pattern and then show you one way of creating a clear template. So I've got some vinyl here from Joann's. It's like the kind of stuff you'd put on a table just to cover it up and protect it, but it's pretty cheap. You can get a yard of it for real cheap and it would probably last you forever. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I see people are joining, so I'm just going to show you one way to use clear vinyl as a template. Okay, so gotta catch my breath here. I was running around trying to collect supplies. I'm just going to do this with the pineapple pattern and put this together real quick. So I'm going to trim off the extra on one of them. If you have any questions at any time, please let me know. I hope that you guys are all having a good Thursday. It's Thursday, right? Okay, let's line these up. And I just realized when you flip it over, little snap guides aren't completely matching, but I'm sure that is only a suggestion and a guide, so that's not a big deal. Okay, so one way you can do this, it might make more sense if I just do it instead of talking about it, but so that's what I'm just going to stick that on there. You can tape it with tape, or one way you can do it is you can spritz your pattern with basting spray or pattern stick. There's a couple different options, and then stick it onto the plastic, and it's really easy to cut without it shifting around. I'm going to use tape because not everybody has access to a spray, like sticky stuff. So I'm just going to like rough cut around this pattern. I'm going to go ahead and use the 10-inch. Okay. Okay, bring this closer. I have a yard of this stuff on a roll. I'm just going to try to stick this on here. And I'll tape around the edge. A lot of people like to use cutting mats from the dollar store or template plastic that you can buy specifically for making clear sewing pattern templates. Those are good options if you have a way to cut them easily. I used to use template plastic, but I found it was really hard to cut. My hands would end up really sore by the end of that with a pair of scissors. So I love this option because it just cuts like butter. So easy to cut it. Oops. Okay, so there's the pattern attached to the plastic. Scooch that away. Cut off some of that extra. And so it should stay in place enough for me to cut out the sewing line. And we'll see how this goes. I don't actually use this method anymore because now I can cut my patterns out with my cutting machine. I just send it from Illustrator to my machine and that cuts it for me on cardstock. But if I didn't have that option, I would definitely be doing this. I did this before I had the cutting machine. So this kind of kills two birds with one stone when you just tape it to the back of the plastic, because you don't have to try to trace it onto template plastic. What cutting machine do I have? I have a Silhouette is that what it's called? A portrait, silhouette portrait. So it's the smaller version, and it's kind of old, I think. It works for me because they make a software add-on where you can like cut directly from Illustrator, so I can cut my own patterns that way. But that wouldn't work for you guys. There are people who have been able to hack the process, and they can trace the patterns in their software, and then they can still cut using the cutting machine. And if you guys can figure out how to do that, that is great. I just haven't played around with that enough to be able to teach you all how to do it. But I probably should, because that would be very convenient. So, it's coming out pretty good. What do you guys do with your patterns? Do you really value having a clear template for placement purposes, or do you just cut it out of paper and however long it lasts in that form is good? I forgot the other reason that this is nice is that it's durable. It can get wet, and that's totally fine. So my toddlers have been raiding my sewing room recently, and I have to redo a lot of my templates because they were in cardstock and now they're wrinkled in the trash. But that's what happens when you need to get something done. You have to let some things go. Sometimes that means the 3-year-old girl gets to play with the templates. Of course, I wouldn't have let her do that if I'd known, but it was okay. She probably learned something from it. So, Nina, you've done cutting mats, but you've just been using cardstock. Yeah, I think cardstock does the job. If you're just gonna like print out a new pattern just for something fun to sew, doesn't really need to be in a durable, long-lasting form. But this isn't too hard to just whip together. I mean, I'm going just a tiny bit slower than I would have if I printed it on cardstock and cut it out. So this really doesn't slow me down too much. And there it is. It's hard to see now, but there's my template. So if you are going to draw the sewing line onto the back of your topper, it's pretty flimsy, but that's okay, it'll still work. And it really works well if you spritz this with some basting spray. Even if you don't use basting spray in any other part of your process, or you can use like pattern stick, and then it sticks to your muslin and doesn't slide around, and then you can just draw your outline. So Lizbeth, and I hope I said your name right, I was just cutting out a template with vinyl from Joann's. It's like the kind of vinyl that you use to cover a table, to protect the table. It's one of the thicker options, and it's super easy to cut. So I just taped the printed pattern to the back of a big sheet, and then I cut them both at the same time. And that is a really easy way to come up with a clear, durable template, which is hard to see in this lighting. So yeah, and then if you wanted to, you could use your marker to mark some things on there, if you use a marker. Like you could, all my patterns come with lines of symmetry, so if you wanted to, you could put a little line right there so that you know where the middle of the pattern is. And then of course you could mark the length on there. This one is 10 inches. So there we go. That's it. Do you guys have any other questions? I probably skipped over some stuff. But yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope that this can be helpful to somebody who's struggling with having a template that's not clear, because this is a cheap, easy option. So yeah. I will talk to you guys later. maybe today, because I plan on doing some more stuff in my sewing room. So yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.